You kids out here playing game, right? I always tell people, sex is not like Monopoly. It's not better with more people involved, right? It just makes a bigger mess. Mr. Wells.
I did not say it.
What did you say?
I probably told him, like, I ain't your daddy. Like, you know, meaning today. Just a joke, though. I just playing with him.
No, that's not a joke. Because if you were playing...
I never told John and I never told Calvin.
So you telling me that this man is just raising this little girl, but you've never told him this is your child?
Exactly.
What?
Buckle up, paternity peeps, for McDaniel versus Wells, as they both were facing quite a situation in their marriage due to doubts about the paternity of their 2 children. The husband, Mr. Wells, has expressed suspicions about the parentage of the children, causing significant strain in their relationship. Talk about true love in the air.
What is your husband's denial doing to your family?
It's destroying us. Like, we don't need to go through this because we just lost a son 6 months ago and we need to be grieving with each other. And for him to deny my kids, it's destroying us even more. We barely talk to each other. We sit in separate rooms. You know, we don't do what marriage people are supposed to do.
How long have you been married?
Since February 14th, 2014.
Your nephew was 5?
Yeah, at the time, he was 5.
The couple met at a gathering when Mr. Wells attempted to get Ms. McDaniel's phone number through her nephew. Well, that's one struggle he might not forget. However, our star couple eventually fell in love and got married. But that wasn't the happy ending because the relationship began to unravel due to rumors of infidelity and doubts about paternity.
And who told you that?
My ex.
So, Mr. Wells, you are in a relationship, a long-standing relationship. You get married, you begin to have children, and all of a sudden your ex comes to you and says, I've got news.
Yes, that they...
Tell me what she told you.
She was like that Megan is the thought of the place where they work at.
But this is your wife she's talking about.
Yes, yes.
So she just decides she's gonna call you out the blue and tell you your wife is a thought.
Ms. McDaniel ended up pregnant, and there were rumors of her infidelity. Mr. Wells heard these rumors from his ex, who claimed that Ms. McDaniel might not be faithful. Well, if that's one credible source, well, that's for you folks to decide in the comments section. Anyways, back to the hearing.
How is it that some ex can come in and tell you something about your wife?
Well, it wasn't, I mean, after that, then she's been sneaky on the phone.
Ms. McDaniel starts acting sneaky?
Yeah, she's covering up her text messages, erasing them.
Oh, I delete my text messages. It's been a habit since I was little. I delete my texts every day at midnight, and I can admit to that.
Now, I'm a straight shooter in this courtroom, Ms. McDaniel. That really doesn't sound too...
What a sneaky move. How can she justify that? But hold on, folks. Our plaintiff here diverts the testimony. More rumors, which led to tension and distance in their marriage. Just listen to what she has to say. Talk about being psycho.
This time we went to a club, and this is another reason he probably, you know, don't think it's his kid, because I was in a club with my friend, and I was dancing on my friend, but the guy spanked me.
And so, Mr. Wells, you saw this happen?
Yeah.
What happened?
But the guy, as he starts dancing and twerking, he stuck his whole hand up her dress and he was smacking her butt.
So you're dancing with a friend and
Yes.
some other guy out of the
she was
blue
speaking to.
puts his hand up your dress.
But here's the classic doubt that we often witness in the courtroom. But guess what's that? Mr. Wells presented evidence in the form of a birth certificate showing that he was not listed as the father, while also explaining the differences in physical appearance and behavior. I don't get that behavior part.
All of my kids, they all favor me in some way.
He has told my daughter, I'm not your daddy, go find your daddy.
What?
I did not say that.
Mr. Wells,
I did not say it.
what did you say?
I probably told him, like, I ain't your daddy. Like, you know, meaning today. Just a joke, though. I just playing with him.
No, that's not a joke. Because if you were playing, you wouldn't be in this courtroom. And so for 2 years, you've looked at this child with doubt in your mind and in your heart.
Yes, I have, Your Honor.
Well, he was the only man in the room. Why leave a blank space? Sounds pretty sneaky to me. But you would believe what our defendant had to say next. Oh boy, he had an exhibit to explain and support the theory. Just see how that went.
Show the court what you brought.
Okay. And what I'm showing, Your Honor, is just the way my head is built with like a roller coaster. You know, it has a lump in the middle. You know, most of my kids, they have it. All of them. As you can see, mine is the same way. As for little Durrell, his head is more flat and her is ginger, like a reddish hair. You feel me? I've never had that in my family.
So you have a roller coaster head.
Well, with enough testimony recorded by Judge Lake, it was time for the paternity police to turn on the siren. Yeah, that's right. The DNA results were in. And get all your popcorn ready, because here the moment of revelation we all have been waiting for.
Mr. Wells, you are the father. You look relieved.
I am very relieved.
Mr. Wells, you are the father. Now that we have this result, Tell them how it makes you feel.
I love you and I want our marriage to improve.
Here we are in a real-life episode of Who's Your Daddy? Ms. Alston says Mr. Holmes is her biological dad, but he's singing a different tune, pointing at Mr. Alston on her birth certificate. It's all about the DNA now, the science stuff, to settle this family feud once and for all.
Mr. Alston and my mom were married, so as a child, it all started there. I grew up in a home with my mom with my 7 siblings. So one summer I was going outside to play, and my mom was outside talking to a guy, and when I walked up, he was like, tell her. And she looked at me and said, this is your uncle. This is your dad's brother. So I proceeded to meet the family, which is my younger brother, my grandmother.
Little Ms. Alston grew up in a house bursting with siblings and her mom. Then, one summer, Uncle Holmes drops a bombshell. I'm your dad's brother. Cue the drama. She met Uncle Holmes's clan, and although they rolled out the welcome mat, but here's Mr. Holmes explaining his doubt.
Why? Explain to the court.
Because Miss Alston's mother, back in the day, she was like fast. And because I met her at the school bus stop, she was in high school. And 2 days later after I met her, I had sex with her. I called her again a couple days later, asked her to come back, and we had sex again. So it was kind of like a booty call. Yeah, I didn't know nothing about her until 15 years later.
Ah, boy, Ms. Alston's mother had met Mr. Holmes when she was in high school, and they had engaged in sexual relations. However, Ms. Alston only learned about Mr. Holmes potentially being her father 15 years later. To me, this revelation might raise doubts and uncertainty about her paternity.
I tried to have a relationship with him and spend time with him. He wouldn't have time for me. I would visit his family members, and he wouldn't be around.
Excuse me, Yana. Can
Yes.
I say something? Her father kind of remind me of my father. The reason why I kind of like accepted her in, because I know how it feels to not have a father. But I kind of like don't believe that she's mine. This woman here was my mother.
Well, Mr. Holmes, we are aware that you did have a relationship with plaintiff's mother, so that kind of puts you in the spotlight. But wait, Mr. Holmes's mother had to add the spice we all have been waiting for. Just settle down for her testimony. This is how it went.
Mother came to me first and said that Donna was my son's child. So I told John, I said, John, Donna is my grandchild.
And when her mother told you this, did she say or mention that there could also be other possible fathers?
No, she never admitted that to me. She just told me my son was Donna's father. And I believed it.
Hey, Yana.
Yes.
See, I usually find out that I got kids when they like 2 months or 3 months.
Well, how about we crank this case up a notch and also bring in testimony of Mr. Aston? That's right, as our man in discussion was also present in the courtroom. And he was also here to testify in this ongoing tug of war for paternity.
Like, what happened to this relationship?
I was in her life up until I left. And I left in 1999.
But what about after you left?
After I left, I came up back and forth. And I used to come to Maryland back and forth. And when I come over there, I do go see her. And I wanted Donna to move in with me when she was about 7 years old. And she said no. Then when she got into
her mother said no?
Mother said no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Holmes?
I'll say something.
Yes.
I never known about this guy right here.
Well, man, that's one big mess. The child was being accepted by Mr. Holmes's family and being denied by him. And on the other end, Mr. Aston has been roaming around living all the responsibilities behind like a freeloader. Well, just listen to what he has to confess next.
I mean, this is
15 years, 16 years, and I found out today.
so you living your life and you have no clue that
No
she's
clue.
been told somebody else is her biological
No clue.
father.
No
And that she's gone through all this and established ties with another family. You have no clue.
No clue. But calling me a year ago, 2 years ago, asking me, Daddy, can I have this? Daddy, can I have that? Daddy, can you pay my bill?
Oh boy, the moment of truth. Judge Lake's about to drop the bombshell results that'll either heal this family or keep the drama train rolling. Get ready for some nail-biting action. Will it be a fairy tale ending, or are we in for more tears and tantrums?
Mr. Holmes, you are not Miss Alston's father. Mr. Alston, you are not Miss Alston's
Get
father.
Why'd she do that?
Lord have mercy.
Mr. Calhoun was convinced that he is not the father of Ms. Prout's child, Amia, alleging that she tried to trick him into believing otherwise. Ms. Prout, on the other hand, was sure that Mr. Calhoun is Amia's father and claims that his denial stems from her decision to put him on child support. At one of the classics, buckle up, folks.
Been friends for a while, but when I seen that she wanted to make a relationship out of things, I cut her off, and I just kind of pushed away from her. And
How did you cut her off?
I stopped calling, stopped answering her calls and text, pretty much ignored her existence.
Because she wanted to get serious.
Because she wanted to get serious, yes, ma'am.
So you wanted to get serious with him, Miss Proud?
Yes, Your Honor, I did, but he did make it understandable that's not what he wanted.
Mr. Calhoun and Ms. Prout were friends who ventured into a complicated romantic entanglement. While Mr. Calhoun wanted to keep things casual, Ms. Prout desired a more serious relationship. Their relationship status was marked by confusion, leading to Mr. Calhoun to buzz off mid-relationship. Well, that was promising. Just listen to what he has to claim next.
I asked for a DNA test, but not when she's saying I did, Your Honor.
Well, when did you ask for it?
After I found out that she said she was pregnant, I blocked her on all social media and everything, because I thought she was crazy. She called me and said that she had took fertility medicine to get pregnant by me, and she got exactly what she wanted out of me.
Oh, did you say that, Miss Prout?
No, Your Honor, that was not what was said. I did not take any fertility pills once I found out I was pregnant.
Well, the baby's conception added another layer of complexity to their already messed up relationship. The pregnancy news of Ms. Prout wasn't appreciated by Mr. Calhoun, despite her attempts to convince him. Today, she pulls out a magic calendar explaining what went down.
So, the red indicates the date you were intimate with Mr. Calhoun twice. Unprotected. And the yellow indicates the window of conception. So as you can see, the day you said you had sex with Mr. Calhoun falls directly in the window of conception.
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's why you believe he is the father of your child.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Calhoun had a feeling that Ms. Prout might have been with other men around the same time, which made him unsure about being the father. He talked about conversations and things on Facebook that made him even more uncertain and caused a lot of mistrust and confusion between them.
From Mr. Calhoun, why you posting this pic if you said I was the father? From Kia, Miss Prout, you a dumb blank. You signed the birth certificate knowing you ain't the father, and then you changed her last name while I was still drugged up.
I posted it, Your Honor. Yeah.
You a dumb blank.
Yeah,
And the only thing
But now you standing here saying you the father. I don't know why you denying it.
As the courtroom showdown heated up, Mr. Calhoun brought in some spicy evidence. He shared a chat where Ms. Prout supposedly spilled the beans and said sorry for trying to fool him. Oh boy, it was quite the drama in there. With all these papers and talking, it sure kept everyone guessing what would happen next.
I got on the birth certificate because upon getting a call from Kia, remember, I never had any contact with Kia for the whole 9 months she was pregnant.
So you didn't have any
No
contact, all right?
No contact. I get a call from Kia on the day her water is broken. She's saying,
no, you did not get a call.
You have a daughter being born. Do you want to come up here and see your daughter being born? Me, I came to the hospital just to see if she was pregnant.
Ms. Prout's godsister, Demetria Dawson, spilled the beans in court. She basically said she thought Ms. Prout was already expecting a baby before Mr. Calhoun popped back into the scene. Talk about a family secret. It was like she had a crystal ball or something, and she wasn't shy about sharing her thoughts with everyone in the courtroom.
My godsister was having unprotected sex with another man. Also, before he came into the picture, myself and also other members felt that my godsister was already pregnant. Because of her demeanor, her mood,
what do you mean?
Her mood changed. She was very moody. So when he did come into the picture, they had unprotected sex, of course. A week later, she took a pregnancy test.
Well, all the doubts had just one way to come to a conclusion, and that was the verification of the DNA results. Because no amount of evidence or claims represented by the plaintiff and the defendant was certain enough to determine who's the father. So let's just focus right onto that part.
Mr. Calhoun, you are the father.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
Why are you so upset, Miss Prout?
Y'all don't know what I've been through with this man. Like, this whole beef thing, I can't co-parent like that. Either we gonna co-parent the right way or it's just not gonna happen and we can go to court and figure it out like that.
Miss Fisher, longing for answers, bravely confronts her mother, Miss Johnson, who has concealed the truth of her paternity for far too long. With two potential fathers stepping into the spotlight, the courtroom becomes a stage for secrets that have remained hidden for years. Prepare for a gripping tale of deceit and the pursuit of identity.
She know who her father is. You know who your father is,
I absolutely do.
So I should know who my father is.
So tell me a little bit about this.
I've been grown up thinking that one man was my father, but at the age of 10, I find out it could possibly be somebody else.
So you grew up believing that Calvin was your father, and that's Mr. Triplett.
Yes.
And he'll be joining us in a moment.
Yeah.
Can you believe the school life trauma? Miss Fisher's name was changed over an intercom. FYI, Miss Fisher believed for years that Mr. Triplett was her father. But at age 10, John enters the picture, adding confusion to the smooth life of Miss Fisher. Just listen to what she has to say next.
That's evidence?
Yes, he went down there and got got my last name changed. My
Girl, let
last
me
name
see
was
that.
Brooks. He changed it to Fisher. And this, she said she didn't know, but
Well,
she
I
had
knew
to be
you-
there.
Well, I
in
was
order-
there to get the name changed. Exactly. This is how it all came
So
about.
this is your birth certificate. It originally had one man's name, and now it's been changed to Fisher.
And I feel like I
With
shouldn't have.
John Clayton Fisher listed as father.
Exactly.
Miss Fisher drops a bombshell by presenting a calendar detailing her mother's, Miss Johnson, romantic day. It seems her mother's love life was quite the roller coaster, with overlapping encounters between Mr. Triplett and Mr. Fisher.
Where your mom was intimate with Mr. Triplett.
Exactly.
And then the bluish green color indicates when she was intimate with Mr. Fisher.
Yes.
Bottom line is, it's the same week.
And ain't no telling. I don't know.
Who did you think at that time was the
Mr.
father
Fisher. Mr.
of
Fisher.
your child?
Mr.
So why
Fisher.
would
You believed it to
But
be
I
Mr.
didn't-
Fisher.
but see, I
Hold on,
didn't-
let me understand this. I need to understand this.
Judge Lake decides it's time to hear from Mr. Fisher, the man caught in the middle of this tangled mess. With Miss Johnson's questionable behavior and Miss Fisher's calendar of confusion, it's about time Mr. Fisher sheds some light on the situation. Let's see if he can help unravel everything.
I was there, but I wasn't there to walk her through her way as a young woman, well, as a child to a young woman. From that time she was born to 10, but I have always been in her life as far as that part, and I was always contributing money to her mom.
Oh, you've known this child since she was born.
Kalina was born. I was staying on the street called Vance, and I was in the house, that day, summertime, having a good time.
We've got some courtroom drama unfolding here. Miss Fisher claims that when Mr. Fisher first came to meet the baby, Miss Johnson wasn't so sure about who the father was. But didn't she just swear up and down that she always knew who the daddy was? Well, it seems like someone might be flip-flopping.
I just kind of beat around the bush and I just didn't. And that was my chance. And I had a lot of chances to tell him at that time.
All right. Bottom line is, when she comes by in the van with the baby, you say to yourself, this could be my child, but since she didn't say anything definitive to me, you just didn't say anything at all and walked away.
Yes, I did.
From that point on, you were in Miss Fisher's life.
Yeah, she was sick. Sometimes she would call me, I would come over.
Hold the phone, folks. Mr. Triplett believed he was Kalina's father for 7 years, as per Miss Johnson's word. But there's a twist. She never told him when she changed Kalina's last name to Fisher in court. And guess what? Mr. Triplett claims he supported Kalina financially all these years.
Johnson, is this true?
No. Calvin's a good person. He's always been there for me. What are you saying right now? No. And Kalina tell you that. I'm sorry. Love you much, but no.
I may not have helped as much as he did, but I did help.
So, Miss Fisher, I see that you're getting emotional, and you don't really know which one is truly your biological father. What are you feeling? What are you hoping for?
Finding out who my daddy is, a stronger relationship with my dad. Because the doubt, regardless of what anybody say, I feel like everybody got that.
With this paternity puzzle growing ever more complex, Judge Lake decides it's high time to put an end to the confusion. She calls for the DNA results, aiming to bring clarity to this drawn-out quest for paternity once and for all.
It has been determined that her father is Mr. Triplett.
I still love you, baby. Don't nothing change, Calvin. You've been
Mr.
family this
Triplett?
long, man.
Yes,
Are you happy today? You said that you wanted her to be your daughter.
yes, I always thought.
Ms. Wisniewski suspects her dad might not be her real dad, and she's waited 25 years for answers. Get ready for a family feud straight out of a daytime talk show. Her mom claims it wasn't her fault, and the alleged daddy, Mr. Wisniewski, insists he's not the dad and smells a financial scheme. Well, someone got to take responsibility for the poor thing.
My mother was a whore when she was with my dad, and she slept around, and that's the reason why my mom and my so-called father had broken up. And I want to know who my dad is, because I don't know who he is. If this is my dad, or another Jim was my dad. My mom's been with several other Jims in my life, and it's confused me from growing up.
Explain to me what it was like growing up without this knowledge that so many of us take for granted.
What a bold claim. Seems like someone's been fed up, according to Ms. Cortez, admits her youthful errors. Well, feels like everyone today in the courtroom was on the truth serum. Well, the big mama claimed she was promiscuous in regards to keeping the things tit for tat, as the alleged daddy also had affairs.
I have doubts because while we were together, I was in the military and went ahead and, I don't mind people buying drinks for ladies in bars free and stuff like that anyway, because that's what they do. Bottom line being is that she's an alcoholic. Here she is in a bar hitting up people for drinks. Then I would have people showing up to my house, knocking on my door, asking, where's Sharon? And I'd always play it off as
I don't.
Excuse
that's
me,
a,
I'm
that's
talking.
a lie.
I'm talking.
Your Honor.
Quiet.
Just 1 second, just 1 second.
This case had a thrilling tale to discuss. Ms. Cortez labeled herself as a drink hustler rather than a man hustler. And guess what? A late-night argument that led to being thrown thrown out of a car by her husband. But fear not, she was soon picked up by a stranger for some consoling, and that, dear audience, led to a 7-year affair.
That part is not true. The part about the
tell
bar.
us what is the truth,
The
as you see
part
it.
about the bar is true, but that was a setup because I was more or less a drink hustler, not a man hustler, because I like to drink. And
But you do admit to having infidelity.
Specifically, what happened was on the way home from work one night, we were having an argument, and he threw me out of the car. It was late at night.
Wait a minute, you're supposed to be
And
Christian. You should be lying.
I had
I've
somebody
never thrown you
pick me up because they saw me crying and very upset.
Did you just hear that? No wonder. Well, even now I also have doubts. Mr. Wisniewski was in the hot seat now, Your Honor. He admits to having doubts about being a cheater, but customer service and flirtation are his game, not infidelity, apparently. But let's rewind to the day Christina was born.
At the hospital together, he was with me when I had her.
It was your thoughts that he was most certainly her father.
Yes, Your Honor.
You had no doubts.
I had no doubts.
Mr. Wisniewski, did you have doubts when you were at the hospital?
I did have doubts, but because of the fact is that I'm in there and I was in it for the long term anyway, and I figured here she was my wife, so I just went with the flow.
Mr. Wisniewski insists he asked for a DNA test during their divorce, but Mrs. Cortez seems to have a case of convenient amnesia, denying any memory of the conversation. However, that wasn't the point, as according to Ms. Wisniewski, the couple had indeed missed some important details of her life. Look what she had to say.
And my mom really wasn't the greatest mother in the world. And you missed everything too. This right here could be your grandson. Does this matter to you?
Well, the thing being is that, when she was born, Christina was born.
You even missed him. You missed the birth of him. Does that matter to you? Do you even care that he's 4 years old? He laughs kind of like you. When I hear you on the phone, he has your laugh. And then you sit there and you're going to deny him?
Well, here comes Ms. Wisniewski with some family drama of her own. She's got a distant relationship with her supposed dad, who's more like a face in a photograph, and as a young girl, she's understandably confused. To spice things up, she's got a letter she wrote to her parents. Let's see what secrets that letter holds.
Dear so-called parents, it's been over 20 years since I have been able to talk to both of you at the same time. My whole life I've been suffering from your stupid and selfish decisions. I want to tell you how much you have hurt me, and all I wanted was to be loved and accepted. I wish that you would understand the pain of being thrown away like trash. I wish you could, one day be in my shoes. Mom, I blame you.
It's been one heck of an emotional roller coaster in that courtroom. But guess what? The moment of truth has arrived. The DNA results, after years of paternity doubts, are finally on the table. Judge Lake is about to drop the bombshell that could bring an end to our distressed plaintiff's long-lost closure quest. Let's see how this cliffhanger unfolds.
Mr. Wisniewski, you are her father.
So, what now? What are you gonna do now? Are you gonna come over for Christmas and, try to play makeup or what,
But you can blame your mom for doing this.
No,
I didn't want to.
Hold on, Mr. Wisniewski.